right, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Bob Webb. I'm the Chief Business Development Officer at ClearlyIP. I'm joined today by Tracy Liu, our Vice President of Channel Sales. We're going to cover just an overview of ClearlyIP, reminder of who we are and what we do, and then talk about Teams calling and how ClearlyIP can integrate its products with Microsoft's Teams calling. We'll go into this ClearlyIP Teams connector portal. We'll actually go in there and we'll look at how all three products are maintained in the portal. We'll talk about the three different Teams integration products that we have. Then at the end, we'll do the usual. We'll go through the connector options and the pricing, how to order, where you can get additional information, and then finally we'll get to the question and answers at the end. ClearlyIP, we were started in 2019 by a team of just VoIP enthusiasts, people who've been around the VoIP world and are well respected in the industry for a very long time. Our flagship product is Clearly Cloud, and that's our UCaaS platform. It's a full-featured UCaaS platform. It's constantly being improved for your use. What makes us, I think, unique in the industry is we also manufacture our own IP desk phones and gateways. These are great machines, equipment. We sell them only directly through our channel partners. That's the only way you can buy them. We sell them at great prices and they perform really well. Today, we'll be talking about the Clearly Cloud platform. We'll be talking about the SIP trunking platform. We have a number of other products that we can share with you. Products such as our CommExchange product. That's a specialized PBX for the hospitality industry. That product's actually in over 2,000 hotels in United States and Canada. We're serving more than 400,000 hotel rooms. We have our panic button, our codex solution. These are solutions that tie into CommExchange. Cloud device managers, that's our provisioning platform that ties into Clearly Cloud, and Clearly Anywhere, which is our mobile application for both Clearly Cloud and CommExchange. We support a e-faxing solution called SendFax2, as well as if you're a free PBX provider, we can help you maintain that distribution with our update control manager. So today we're going to be focused on Clearly Cloud and SIP trunking. So Clearly Cloud, it's an easy to use, full-featured unified communication system, and it really allows for seamless team communication. Again, that's our flagship product. We launched this whole adventure with our SIP trunking. It's a very robust PBX agnostic platform. We sell that with dedicated call paths, have unlimited, virtually unlimited calling, as well as metered call paths that you can really pay as you go on those call paths. Teams can integrate with both of these platforms and can actually integrate with Clearly Cloud in a couple of different ways. We're going to try to clarify some of that as we go forward today. So I'm going to start with Clearly Cloud on the left, or let's start with Teams on the right actually here. Looking at this, when you have a Teams implementation in your organization, you get Teams phone system and Teams phone system out of the box, if you will, and it gives you really a full PBX capability with your Teams license. In addition to that, there's a special license you need called Teams Phone Standard that allows you to use the Teams client as a phone. This is kind of the default Teams world, and we're going to talk about various required licenses that you need just to operate in this world. So you're going to need Microsoft 365 E3 or E5 or some other Office 365 solution that includes Teams. That's essential. Then on top of that licensing, you would need Microsoft Teams Phone Standard. That's usually about an $8 license per month. Microsoft's Team Phone then is if you want to use Teams, and we're going to talk you out of that today, but if you want to use Teams for your domestic calling, that's a $12 per month $12 per user month subscription. So at the end of this, in your Teams world, you would be at the cost of Office 365 plus Teams plus $20 per user. Where ClearlyIP can add value is we can greatly improve the PBX functionality. Our UCaaS system provides a lot of additional features, calling queues, paging systems as well, that you can leverage and combine with your Teams client. When you integrate with Clearly IP, you really separate the duties of the PBX administrator from the Teams administrator. And really, where they meet is something called the Clearly IP connector portal, which we'll go into on the next slide. But other than that one space, the two worlds can remain divided. And then what happens is using in any of these solutions, using Clearly IP to make your inbound and outbound calling, you eliminate the domestic calling plan from Microsoft Teams. Integrating with Clearly Cloud, you're going to set up this customer exactly the way you would set up any Clearly Cloud instance. You're going to create the users and the extensions, build the IVRs, set the queues, the ring groups, the paging routes. You're going to do all that, configure the voicemail to email, all the inbound routing is established. Just something to remember here is when you're using Clearly Cloud with Teams, common extensions, vanity extensions, paging systems, none of these are required to be Teams users. On the Teams connector portal side, this portal operates as an SBC between Teams and in Clearly Cloud. The portal is actually managed by the organization's Teams administrator. And that Teams administrator will sign, and we'll do this on a demo in a minute, will sign into the portal with the Microsoft Teams authentication, OAuth authentication, and will give the portal permission to modify the Teams phone's instance. That's a multi-step process where you're just giving the portal permission to change important parts of Microsoft Teams to make it work with Clearly Cloud. Once you've given all the permission, then the portal modifies Teams to connect each user in Teams to an extension in Clearly IP. And that's why we use the term connector, because that's really what you're doing is you're connecting a Teams user to a user extension in Microsoft Teams. Once that's done, Teams is now the smartphone for Clearly IP and is fully integrated with the Teams experience as well as fully integrated with the Clearly Cloud experience. We're going to give a live demo. I'm going to sign into the enterprise portal. It's only going to take a few minutes just so you can see how it exists. In that portal, we're going to talk about the 3 different connectors that we offer and that really give you options for how you want to integrate Teams with Clearly IP. The premier one and the one that we're going to spend the most time is the Clearly IP user connection. This is the full instance of Clearly IP's Clearly Cloud product connected to a Microsoft Teams client with full calling capabilities. After that, we'll talk a little bit about the Flex add-on user. This is a kind of a twist. It has the potential to save a little bit of money off of the first solution, but it also loses some integration with Teams, and we'll talk about that at the end. Finally, if you're committed to using Teams as your PBX, you can still use Clearly IP SIP trunking solution and use our user connector for direct routing and still use Clearly IP to connect your users to the world. All right, I'm going to jump out of here and sign in to the enterprise portal. So I just want to highlight here, when I signed into this portal, I actually signed in with my Microsoft credentials. I'm the administrator on this Microsoft domain, so I signed in with my credentials. You can see that the portal manages the direct routing status that is in your Teams PBX. It lists all the users. And then, although we have the trunking product set up for this domain, we don't have any trunking users on it right now. If it did, what you would see here is a phone number that was routing down those trunks. I just want to highlight you can have multiple products all on one domain. It's not very common, but it can be done. These 3 where you see the phone right here, these 3, they are connected users as we've been discussing. This user here with the little headphone icon, that's the user with the Flex add-on connector as well. So we'll talk about that going forward. When you sign up with us to integrate your Teams platform or your customer's Teams platform, we set aside time. We work directly with the team's administrator. We share this screen that they're logged into, and we walk them through this whole process. So there's no scripting in Windows. There's no PowerShell building in Windows. It's all managed through this portal. It's all automated. And if you will, it's all concierge service with a Clearly IP resource on the call as you do this. We try to make it as simple as possible. So once these users are connection, you can see here's my users here. What does it look like in Teams? Not, not a ton to show here, but I just want to show it's just a phone. This team is just, this user's team is just integrated with everything else in Teams. It's integrated with a new button called Calls where they can make phone calls. There's nothing to it. Dial it, make a call. There's nothing to it. You do get some history. There is the ability to get, I should show it here. There is the ability to get these cards that will tell you how many voicemail and click into your voicemail, as well as contact cards. When a call comes in, you can create a contact card and then quickly click on add contact as well. So there's a little bit more integration there as well. But for the most part, all you've really done now is you've enabled this soft client to be just another user that's fully functioning within the Clearly IP UCaaS world of Clearly Cloud. So we're going to talk about the three products now. The first product we're going to talk about is the Clearly IP User Connector from Microsoft Teams. It's what I've been describing all along. It gives you that full unified communication experience. You can live in call queues. You can be paged. Your soft phone, your team soft phone works just the way any other soft phone would work within the Clearly IP world. Plus, it integrates as a fully integrated solution within your team's communication world. You get comprehensive connectivity, voicemail, call recording, advanced call routing, everything you need and everything you would expect from a UCaaS experience. You no longer pay for the $12 per month user per month fee on your Microsoft Teams calling plan. Probably the one that's more complicated and a little bit more difficult to get around, get your arms around, I should say, is the add-on, the Flex add-on user. What this does is it provides, again, everything is set up in Clearly Cloud. You have a full Clearly Cloud instance. It's going to provide a lighter Teams integration, and in that, I'm going to skip the next bullet point and skip down to the next one. It uses a non-native caller. So instead of seeing that calls button on the left that we saw when we were in the fully integrated solution, you're going to see another app on the left called Dial. That is not a Microsoft app. That's going to be a third-party app that Clearly IP provides that's going to handle the dialing. So things like call forwarding, call transfers aren't being handled within Teams. They're being handled within this third-party solution. What's the advantage, or the Clearly IP solution, I should say? What's the advantage of that solution? Is it eliminates that $12 per month user fee that we've been talking about. It also eliminates that $8 per month fee for the standard phone license. Finally, but it does add an extra $2 per month user fee for this additional connector. It's an additional connector upon our standard connector. The last thing to know about this solution is it uses a dial around technology. That is, when you go to make an outbound call, it really manifests itself as an inbound call from Teams to the dial client, which is then subsequently bridged to an outbound call that Teams made for you as well. So it's kind of a two-step process. You may experience this with your CRM or other solutions today. Just something to be aware of. The last solution that we're going to talk about today is, if you're absolutely committed to having Teams be your PBX, you can still integrate with Clearly IP at the SIP trunking layer. It operates transparently with the Teams phone system and makes everything transparent. You can do this with dedicated call paths at a subscription rate, which comes with unlimited domestic calling, Or you can do this with metered call paths, and then which expand and shrink to meet your needs. You're paying usage on a per minute basis. Again, this eliminates the Microsoft calling plan, that $12 fee per month as well. So regardless of which solution you have, ClearlyIP works closely with you on the implementation. One of our installation experts will be on the call with the Teams administrator, walking them through it step by step as we grant those permissions and initiate the connection between the users that are in Teams and the services that are in ClearlyIP. Pricing. So the user connector for Teams, that's our standard product. That's a list price of $3.50 per month per user. And this is really per Teams user, per connected Teams users. So if only a certain subset of your organization is connected, it would only be a charge for those. It's very much akin to what you would pay on a leased phone, if you will, if you're trying to say, how do I think about this? It's really just the ability, it's that ability to use that Teams client as a soft phone into ClearlyIP. If you want to eliminate the $8, you pick up an extra $2 for that Flex license add-on solution that we talked about. Again, it's full ClearlyIP capabilities, full Clearly Cloud capabilities, but less tight on the integration on the Microsoft Teams side. Separate from that, if you're buying the direct routing user connector, if you're going to commit to Microsoft Teams being your PBX, we can still be your SIP trunks, and those user connectors are still charged at a Teams layer for $2 per month USD. Finally, there is a one-time setup fee with all of this as we handle all the installation with you and with the appointed Microsoft Teams administrator. There is a one-time setup fee for $200. Note, reseller discounts apply to the connector charges. How to order. The solution has its own ordering page, https clearlyip.com cc-ms teams. You fill in all the customer information. You provide your MS Teams info. You provide your Clearly Cloud info and how many licenses you want. Create a ticket, and one of our installation specialists will be getting back to you right away and begin scheduling that conversion and setup. Tools and resources, you can go and take a look at our partner resources that you're familiar with right on our trunking e-commerce portal, as well as go to the KB site, our knowledge base, and check out the Connected Teams setup. And we'll walk you through much of what we talked about today. So with that, are there any questions?
We had one question about if they will get a recording, and I believe we are going to be sending out a recording to all attendees. Other than that, I don't see anything else at this time.
So, one question is how long does this take? Generally, this is a greatly improved process, and generally we can set up in a couple of hours, really a 1-hour session and a couple of hours, as long as we line up all the Microsoft licensing in advance. The turn-up process is very, very quick. We have a question here from Chandra. How do we become a partner? At that same website, trunking.clearlyip.com, I believe there's a login sign-on and a page to how to become a partner. Maybe Tracy, you could take a look and see if you
I'm actually going to send out a link right now, Bob.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah, so there's a link to a partner program. If you fill out the form, somebody will reach out to you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Tracy. So Absolutely. Can you switch from one licensing to the other? Just give me a moment to think about this. It's not I think switching between the Flex add-on and the other license and the user connector, standard user connector, would be relatively easy. If you're switching from direct routing to a user connector back and forth, you're really changing which PBX is control of your world. So it's more of a migration strategy. But on the Flex license, it's not designed to easily transition. But if you had a particular need, if you wanted to try out a couple of standard connectors and Flex connectors and then cancel one and start the other, we would work with somebody on that. Listen, I hope this answered your questions. The Microsoft Teams integration has had a lot of interest, and really, our experience says that this will appeal to your customers or your own organizations. This will appeal uh, that that are committed to teams. So if your organization is committed to teams, they want to live in the teams ecosystem. You want to deliver a great calling experience through Clearly Cloud. This is the way to make it happen. If the organization you're working with is not already committed to Teams, they're not a Teams user, this is a lot to bring on to that organization. So where we've seen it succeed and where we've seen a lot of customer satisfaction is in those organizations that are already committed to Teams. They want to live in the Teams ecosystem, but they want a great calling platform, including calling queues and the other features that Clearly Cloud can bring to them. Most of our clients have simple needs. Can we continue to provide simple voice service as they do now? Correct. So nobody's required to move to Microsoft Teams. It's a completely optional system. And even if you choose to go down this route with the connector, you don't have to connect all the users. Remember, a connected user is just another soft phone into Clearly IP. There's no need to take this on unless it's really important to you or your customer to be in that Teams ecosystem. So when you're selling this to a customer, they would need to pay per user for the PBX. Yes. Yes, so correct. So you're going to be paying per on the user connector with Clearly Cloud. You're going to be paying per user on the PBX side, on the Clearly Cloud side. And then in addition to that, they would need Office 365 plus Teams, however they get that, and that Microsoft standard phone license or phone standard license for $8. And on top of that, they would need the user connector, which lists at $350. If they're using it, I think the question is actually getting at direct routing solution. Very similar answer, except for it's the $2 for the connected users on the direct routing. Actually, yes, the $2. So, but remember, in the direct routing connected user solution, every user needs a way in and out of the world. So every user that's making a phone call would need to spend the $2 per month on that connector. It would not be just a handful of selected users in the direct routing world. In the direct routing world, all users will be connected to a phone number and all users that need to make inbound and outbound calls from Teams. Are there any levels of support for Clearly IP available with this licensing? We'll support this product top to bottom. Our customers call us back on this product all the time just to get some guidance on how to expand, how to change, how to grow, and we'll take those calls and we'll do it. We don't need to sell support on this product. It's much like our Clearly Cloud product where you're going to get good support from us on this service. Okay, so what do you pay to Microsoft? Question really getting at what do we pay to Microsoft and what do we pay to Clearly IP? So for on the Microsoft, give unto Caesar their licensing. So all the licensing you paid to Microsoft. The user connectors and the PBX users you pay to Clearly IP. So the user connectors are and the users, the PBX users, that's all paid to Clearly IP. Microsoft is going to get those licensing, so the standard phone license, as well as your Office 365 and Teams license, however you manage that. So the next question is, do all three models require MS Phone Standard? No, only the normal user connector and the direct routing require MS Phone Standard. The Flex add-on does not require MS Phone Standard license. And that'll be clarified when the slides go out, and it's slightly confusing. Again, with that Flex add-on, you've got a little less integration with Microsoft Teams, and it's just a slightly different experience than a full Teams experience. Currently, can we do SMS? Currently, you can do SMS through Clearly IP and support that through our Clearly IP call panel and in Clearly Anywhere app. We are not supporting SMS through Teams at this time, but stay tuned. We are always looking to advance this product. So yes, currently we are doing no SMS integration with the Microsoft Teams client. Our broadcasting and intercom features and our option, yes, we have paging solutions built into Clearly Cloud, so you can do paging in Clearly Cloud application. So that's all part of it. If a Teams user is part of that paging group, they will get paged. If they're part of a calling queue, they will be rung according to, their phone will ring according to the rules you set up for that calling queue for an inbound call center, say, calling queue. All the features that you have in Clearly Cloud are available to this client, including intercom features.
Just to clarify, Bob, do all 3 models need the MS Phone standard license?
Yeah, we'll cover that one more time.
Yeah.
The Flex add-on model does not require the standard phone connection. The other two, the user connector, the standard user connector, and the Teams Direct Routing, those require phone standard. You avoid it with that Flex add-on model, so you save a little money, but you also lose a little integration with Teams. The Teams client itself is not making a call. It's launching a separate dialer provided by ClearlyIP to make the call. So things like transfers are a little bit different. Call forwarding is a little bit different, as well as Teams recognizing that some activity is going on with that dialer. All of that's slightly different, all workable with that Flex add-on, and you do save the money on the phone standard. You do pick up an additional $2 cost because you're buying both the user connector and that Flex add-on for a $550 total cost.
I saw that Adam raised his hand, but I don't think I saw a question from Adam, unfortunately. If you have
can
a
turn on
question.
his mic, I think, if you want.
Okay, let's try that then. It's taking a sec.
Sure.
Giving me a.
So Adam, if you have any questions for us, either you can drop them in the Q&A here or send us an email. I don't have my contact on the screen, but it's very straightforward. It's BWEBB, so that's bweb at clearlyip.com, and you can send it on to me. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you for taking time out of your day. We really appreciate it. We thank you for your interest in Clearly IP.
Thanks, everyone.